we're happy to be back and joining you all today with another great topic on today. We are going to discuss the parent-child relationship, growing together. My sisters, go ahead and greet you all.
I just want to say hello. I'm excited. I'm ready to hear what's about to transpire on today. I'm excited to have the young adults in here with us. And I am not going to be surprised. We all have a real, authentic, wonderful relationship. So I'm ready to hear what they have to say.
Hey guys, welcome. Glad to be here, and I too am excited. I'm glad that our children and our mother is in the house.
Oh, yes, I forgot to say we have the matriarch. We have the beautiful mother. Our mother is here with us on today, and we also have our children. I'm going to go ahead and introduce them, but we all know our mother, she was on the last time, the last time she was on, but she wasn't on camera. So now we have her beautiful face on camera with us today. Mother, you want to go ahead and greet the people and say hello?
Glad to be here. I'm not glad to be on camera, but I'm glad to be here.
We are happy. Now those that ask, you can put a face with the voice now. This is our mother, the one we talk about that did all that, those things, great, wonderful, taught us those great, wonderful lessons growing up that some of us didn't want to hear at the time, but she poured it into us and beat it. I'm not going to say beat, but she...
Well,
Well, she made sure that we got some of those points that she was, I would say she did her job. Mother was mothering.
yes.
So, mother was mothering. I'm going to go ahead and let you know we have my sister Ashley's daughter right here in the brown, Stardy. Go ahead and say hello.
Hello.
We have my other niece. This is Brandy's daughter. I probably don't even have to say who's who. You can look and tell who's who. They are their mother's twins. So we have Angel in the building with us. And we have the nephew, the one nephew who got tied into all this with all these ladies. He survived, y'all. He survived all this female energy. Bless him. We have Micah, our handsome Micah, in the building with us today.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Hey. I don't know if they're nervous or not, but we are so ready to hear what they say. I love to talk to the young adults and hear things from their aspect, and hear how they see things through their lens. So I'm excited. We're going to honor our mothers on today. We're here going to honor our mom on today.
Yes.
We are here. We may hear some stuff on today. I know that we all come from a biblical aspect. So with this parent-child edition, we know that the Bible emphasizes the importance of both the children, the parental, and the children roles, and fulfilling each role that we have with family, with mainly focusing on obedience, honoring our parents, and vice versa, and teaching. So as parents, we've been instructed through God to lead them in the way that the Lord says to lead them, and train them up and raise them. Our children are expected from the biblical aspect to honor their parents. That our responsibility as parents is to teach and train. Their responsibility is to listen.
Yes.
I don't know if they knew that, but one of the responsibilities that they have is to listen and obey. And as parents, we don't want to provoke our kids. I'm gonna get that out up front. We're not to provoke them. We're not to aggravate them or agitate them. So we're gonna hear some good stuff about how these people were raised. I'm sorry, my children are not here. My oldest is out celebrating her birthday, and my two youngest ones are out celebrating somebody else's birthday. But I'm happy, so we go ahead. Ashley, you have anything you want to add at this?
I'm just like you said. I'm looking forward to hearing, and I think this is going to help others that have relationships with their children and maybe they're going on into adulthood and it transitions. So just knowing how to transition,
good.
knowing some of the bumps and some of the roads that we travel to be able to help somebody else. Because when I talk to other people, sometimes they're like, "Oh, you went through that too, or you dealt with that too." So I think this is gonna shed some light on those things. And as parents, there's no rule book. There's no, you don't just have this wonderful blueprint. I think it's per child. I have three children, three daughters, and I have a godson, so I have four. My son too. But and parenting them has been different. So I think that aspect of it is going to be something that we're going to tap into as well.
I'm excited too, and I was just thinking about how nowadays people in the media are promoting no children. They're really pushing it right now about no children, but it's very rewarding, and God wanted us to be fruitful and multiply. So that's just something that we all have children, and we get to speak on the aspect of having children, how fun it was raising them, the ups and downs that you have, but it's still rewarding. It's still God's will, and God still blesses it regardless.
That's good, and it's very interesting. And with that, I want to open up for a mom to say something. So I do have a question for mom on today. We're going to start here. Let's start here with the ones on the couch. So, as from our mother, mom, can you let the people know how it was that you had three as well? Three girls, and like Ashley was saying, she is a tree. What is it? She's a part of your branch, a limb from your tree. I can't remember how to say it. But anyway, so she has three girls. She talked about and the difference in raising each one. So, mom, let us know, how was it raising these three beautiful daughters that you have?
Do
Well, what did you say?
Do share.
Let's hear from her first.
Y'all funny. Well, it is a difference with each child. No two children are alike. I don't care if you have twins. I have twin nieces. No two children are alike, and so you have to, being a parent, when you're instilling in your children the morals or the ideas, the thing that you hold to be very important, when you're instilling in your children, you have to, I don't want to say deal with, but that's the only way I can think of right now. You have to handle them the way that they are. Everybody is not the same. I have one child that didn't like hugs, and would not, I was saying at that time, didn't like hugs, so you could not hug her. We would attack her and hug her. We would definitely, and I would stick the other two on and say, go get her, grab her, and hug her. I got one that's so lovey-dovey, always want hugs, always want, whatever. And then I have one that like hugs and kisses, and would challenge me sometimes and say, you didn't kiss us last night.
Oh.
And I said, well, I did. Well, we didn't know it. I said, you were asleep. Well, do it when we're awake.
Okay.
So,
You can let us know who that was.
Okay, yeah.
So, and raising my daughters was a challenge, and I felt like a blessing because this is my philosophy, or this is what I believe. God trusts us, so He loans our children to us. He said they're mine, and I'm going to loan them to you, and I want you to raise them like I would raise them. And when we do this, of course God is pleased and then He blesses us, but they're not ours to keep. They're ours to mold and to raise up. And the Word of God says in the nurture and admonition of the Lord, this is how we should raise our children. I did what I could. I did the best that I could with these girls. I raised them the way that I felt like was a good way to raise them. Now looking back, I just told one of them the other day, when I look at how they raised their children, I see things that I would have liked to have incorporated in my raising them, that I didn't have to be that hard. I could have done it the way that she did it. That I love that, and I love the way they raise their children. I love the way they handle them, or they have a relationship with their children. But there are some things I think, I shouldn't have done that. I should have. Then there's some things I'll say I should have done more of that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and a lot of it is discipline. I should have done more discipline in certain areas, but I should have done it a different way.
Really?
I should have explained myself better. Because growing up now, their children can come and talk to them about anything. They can say anything, however they say it. When I was growing up, there were certain things you did, in a certain way you would approach your parents, and I use that same philosophy in raising my kids. You can say things to me, but you better watch how you say it. You know, you need to remember that I'm not your friend, I'm your mother. I demanded respect. I got it. I demanded respect. If I didn't get it, I handled it the way that I handled it. Yeah, I did some whooping. I did some whooping, and then I changed that to where I did some punishment, and for one, the punishment didn't work. She kind of, you know, like rebelled a little bit with the punishment, so I had to go back to whooping her. So, but I know I'm talking a lot, but I so totally enjoyed having my children. The one thing that I've said before, I said on camera. I mean, yeah, I said it here before that. Because of the way I was raised, I was very introverted. I did not express myself in any loving way, other than I was very kind. And my children taught me how to love. They taught me to accept hugs. They taught me to accept kisses and whatever. They taught me to play, because I didn't do that. I didn't play, and they taught me to play, and how in some ways not to be so harsh. So I'm gonna stop right now. I may have something else to share. I'm gonna stop and hand it back off to Cookie. Did I answer your question?
You did. You answered the question, but I was wondering who that one child was
Which one?
that you were talking about. What did she say?
That did what?
That
Just having a punch.
Yeah.
Oh, the one that had Tanisha?
Oh, okay.
I knew.
I assumed it was my mother. But
No.
She didn't
Stop
see
getting
straight.
whooped.
No, I didn't get
She didn't.
punishments. I just got straight whooped. So
Yeah.
it never was a
That was
punishment.
me. I knew.
I tried to punish Cookie by telling her, okay, since she didn't do what I said, now you're gonna have to wash dishes for the whole week. She didn't wash. I said, okay, you're gonna have to wash dishes for 2 weeks. I went all the way to a month, and I said, this is not working. Cause she didn't clean up my kitchen the way I wanted it clean, so I had to go back to tending that house.
That's interesting that you say that, because now I see something with my child. Oh my gosh. I'm wondering what is going on. That's very interesting that you bring that out, because honestly, I didn't know that was me.
Yeah, that's what you did.
We do it. Yeah.
But I don't. I know I don't. Don't punish me. Don't tell me you're going to punish me. I'm not feeling that. I'm not going to. Not entertaining it. I'm not with that. Oh, okay. That didn't register to me, you know. So I like the fact that you said, you know, how we talk about the 3 different kids. I think a lot of times nowadays we tend to, when our kids get older, we think as adults we don't still have to be there for them as parents. And I think this is a very good. I'm glad that they're here today, because when they do get older, we can't throw them to the wolves like that.
Right.
I think we still need to be there. We can be there to not intrude, not being there intrusive in an intrusive way, but we can still be there as a parent and guide them and help them as they maneuver through the transition from teenage to young adulthood. You know, and I think a lot of times adults we get so tired or with the parenting. That's a hard job. As being parents, that's a hard job. And like Ashley said, there's no rule book to parenting. You know, a lot of times we beat ourselves up for things that we like mom just said, I wish I would have did this better, or did some people beat themselves up, and when the kids get older and they may go astray, or they may bump their heads, or they may go out in a different way. But I always say they're building their testimony. You know. And I'm a perfect example of that. I know you heard me say once before that when I changed my life, you know, I wasn't just in the church house and nothing like that. I just know the things that my mom taught us as kids. And I was in the hotel room like, Lord, forgive me. Hey, help me. It's changed my life, you know. So it was the things that I was taught and trained, like the Bible says, train up a child in the way that he should go, and when he's older, he should not depart. I'm that example of that scripture right there. I'm the example of that because my mom trained, she taught us, and as a parental role, and as that being our responsibility of the parent, we are to teach and to train our children in the way of God, you know, and teach and train them to be adults, and teach and train them to make wise choices, you know, and help them. And we can do that by the life that we live, because we are the number one example. They see us, so they tend to pattern our lives, you know. So, but I said all that to say that I'm the example and the testament to, you know, because the things that I was taught, it didn't seem like I heard it then, but when it came to a time of need, all this stuff came back to my mind. I was like, oh, wait, yeah, you know, it started flooding back to me. And I was like, right, I knew I heard this before. I knew I was taught this. And one of the things I remember as a little kid going to church that stuck with me, I don't remember anything outside of going to Sunday school as a kid. You know, but the one thing that the Sunday school teacher taught, she said, treat others how you want to be treated. And that stuck with me. So that's one thing I tried to uh, apply to my life, and make sure that if I don't want anybody doing certain things to me, I try not to do them to others. Now, I made some mistakes along the way and did some things unconsciously, you know, but some of the things that I'm saying is to say that as parents, give yourself a break, you know. Don't beat yourself up, you know, because our kids do. I had to go and make my testimony. I had to go and build my testimony, and it was through me bumping my head. But you know, with the praying mother, you know, she kept me in prayer, and it's by the grace of God that I'm here today. Where it's by the purpose of God, the destiny of God that I'm here today. You know, because He has a purpose and a plan for my life. But I think, and we're talking today, and we're talking about the growing together from parent child, and I want to just emphasize to parents that don't beat yourself up. You're doing a good job, and today maybe we salute you. We didn't make Mother's Day, but this is still the month. This is our Mother Day edition. We salute mothers on today, and we want to honor mothers on today and let you know that you're doing a good job. You know, it's just you being present right there along, still being present in your child's life. You're doing a good job, because a lot of people don't have the mother figure or the parental figure in their life anymore. But if you're listening today, we want to salute you.
Yes, and even for those that may not have mothers, like your mother birthed you, but she's not there or wasn't there. There was a purpose for her to get you here, even if it was just that, you know, because I know there are some people that didn't have that, you know. Every mother-daughter or mother-son relationship isn't the best, but thankfully, like you said, that wasn't the blueprint we had. But for those that may have had that blueprint, I've seen some people that probably didn't have that best relationship, but then they in turn, you're gonna do one or two things. You're gonna either duplicate or do the same thing, imitate what you saw before you, or you're gonna do the opposite. So there were some that said, you know what, I didn't get this, so when I have children, I'm gonna give this to my children, and you know, give a better example. And I thank God for my mom. I know her upbringing wasn't just all grand or the best, but she made sure that she instilled love in us. She made sure that she poured into us, and she said that we taught her how to love, but we were only reflecting what she was giving to us. And so I'm thankful for that. And even with my children, like I said earlier, all my children are different, like night and day. They have some similarities, but they are so different. They're all headstrong. They're all every last one of them, you know. And so growing up in the house with them, it was interesting to say the least. It was very interesting. I thank God, because I was nervous, you know, having children and hearing all my life, you're going to have kids and they're going to act just like you. So I was a little nervous. Like, Lord, I was praying, and I was like, Lord, you know, maybe I can reach back from somewhere else and, you know, get something. Yeah, I reached all the way back.
Over here.
Yeah, I reached over. Because to be honest, I didn't have, my children were not bad. I thank God for that. That was it challenging at sometimes? Yes, they challenged me, but knowing how I was and wonderful challenges that I gave my parents. It was nothing compared to the fruitful challenges that I gave my parents. They had a little blossoming, but it wasn't nothing compared to that. And so I'm thankful to God. I say it all the time. I would get calls from the school about how good my children were. And my parents got the opposite, you know. And so I'm thankful for that part of it. But even when growing up, the different changes that all of them went through, I had to maneuver and to navigate through that, and I couldn't do it the same way I did with the other one. Even when it came to discipline, like my mom said, us with the hugs and the love, when it came to discipline in my house, I knew one, I could punish. One, I knew one, I could
She said put a name.
put a name to it. We want to put names to it. So
Yes, please.
with my oldest, Shaye, I couldn't, if I took something from her, that she didn't care. Like, oh, okay, you know, she hated to be spanked. She didn't want whooping. She hated that. That would bother her. But if I just said, go to your room or whatever, that was just like, okay, this fine with me. It wasn't like a punishment. But I didn't have to do those things with her. I could just tell her certain things. Okay, it's done. With Star, all I had to do was talk to her because the tears were rolling. She's gonna start crying, and it would get a little dramatic. And so
I feel what you were saying, and I just moved accordingly after that.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I'm helping you out.
That's what it was.
Yeah, they worked out, you know, all the
With the belt and stuff. Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
I hear you. It like you didn't yeah, you didn't get what a workout. My sister had to go.
But with her, I would just talk and like the tears are rolling and like, oh my God. And then with my youngest, yeah, I had to, I didn't spare the rod. I had to use the rod. I had to pull out the belt. I had to go to, yeah, she was a lot like me when it came to that part of it. I didn't get a choice when it came to, my mama didn't say, hey, you want punishment or you want, I just got spanked. So it was kind of the same with her. So, ma'am, was it?
It was because of your mouth.
Mouth's attitude, and yeah, I agree. I cannot disagree with you. And so, those were some of the things that I had to learn with all of them. I had to know my children. I had to know even with certain things, like, okay, if somebody said this person did this or did that, 9 times out of 10, like, okay, I know you're right, because I know that one would. Prime example, I remember my mom's cousin came to her and said Brandy cursed him out or something, and my mom and my aunt were like, no, Brandy did not. They knew, because that wasn't her character. Brandy did not do this. Now they said, now Squirt, if you said Squirt cussed you out, we would have believed you. But we know Brandy did not do that. So you have to know your children. You have to know, okay, I know with this one, even in good ways, okay, I can give this one a gift, or this one may want love, hugs, or this one may want whatever the case may be. When you know that, that'll help you navigate through parenting. And when they're older, it's even different then. So I love, like you said, it was a blessing. And you said it too, having children, because even as my children have gotten older, like my mom said, I used to tell them all the time, I'm not your friend, I'm your mom. But now that they're grown, I'm like, these my little best friends. Like, you know, I love that part of it.
Okay. I like it's like what I was thinking. You started saying it, so that was good. I wanted to start with as far as like the children who didn't have their parents, but maybe they had a grandparent, maybe they had an aunt or an uncle. Thank God for that, because your parents, is not that they didn't love you, but maybe they couldn't raise you. So as you grow up, don't resent them for not being there, because God had his plan or whatever, and maybe he wanted your grandmother or your grandfather that went to church, or your aunties or uncles to raise you, because he knew better. And you know, there are a lot of children, well, young adults now, that as they grow up, they resent their parents for not being there. We don't really give them a little grace, because you don't know what it is that maybe they were going through at that time, and they thought for the best decision was to allow the parent or their parents to raise them. Maybe they were too young to have a child at that time, and they thought that, well, hey, you know, you can go ahead and please help or whatever. And thank God for grandparents or family members that help, because it really does take a village. It really does take, because we all like played a part in raising each other's children. Like her children are my children, and vice
Yes.
versa.
Yes.
All of our children, we all play a part in helping to raise each other's children. And I just wanted to get into, because we were talking about like the different styles. And at first, when my kids were little, because my dad whooped us for a long while until my mom put a stop to it because he was trying to kill us.
Right.
So but we did get whoopings, and but they never raised their voices or anything like that. But when I had kids, I took that and I was like just whooping for everything. And then one day it just hit me: you don't have to raise your kids like this.
Yes.
You don't have to. You don't have to do that. You can talk to them. You can put them in the corner. Kids hate corners. Kids, most kids hate being in the corner. I don't know who made that thing up or whatever, but it works.
The timeout.
Yeah, the timeout. So you have to, as you grow, and I just thank God, because that was one thing that I told myself: just because my dad did this, I don't have to do.
Right,
I don't have to raise the
that's
same
good.
way. And I told my kids used to tell them all the time, like, take the good that you see in me. Throw everything else away. Take everything that was good, because it is sometimes you can take it on. But thank God for showing me, because I was like, no, I don't have to I don't have to do this to my children. And thank God, because a lot of people, my mama mentioned it at first, but a lot of people, as we were raising them, was like, they being disrespectful to you. They being, oh, you just let your kids tell you? Yes, I do. Because I want them, they're human beings.
Right.
They're still people, and they need to be treated as such. If you treat them like, you do what I say, like that, beating them over the head or whatever, you're not going to have an open relationship with them. They're not going to want to talk to you, and that's how like a lot of children, as they grow up, they pretty much just like cut themselves off from their parents and their family members. Their communication needs to be open. And my kids can talk, even though they are like quiet until like you meet people. But us, those two kids would talk. And I would like, a lot of times, if I didn't pick them up, maybe my mama picked them up or whoever picked them up from school growing up, I'd be like, whew, thank you. You took one for me. Because once they get out, like however their day was, most of the times they're not going to want to repeat it. And I'd be like, ooh, thank you so much. Yeah. Because they can talk. But I just thank God that they are, that they did talk. And I thank God that they were, that they listen or whatever, because that's one thing that I appreciate with raising them. We had fun.
Yeah.
We let them say things, and they would just say things like, I remember one time because I was trying to stop yelling. I was like, Lord, please help me. I don't want to yell at my kids, because they would like tense up like that when they were little. And so I said, okay, I'm gonna put a rubber band on my wrist. And every time I yell, I just come up and pop the rubber band. Well, before the day was up, my wrist was hurting so bad. It was like pop, 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 pop. And I was like, okay, all right, guys, let's go ahead and think of something else to do, because this is wearing me out. But it did help me, because I was conscious of, okay, bring it down. You don't have to talk to them like that. But then as they grew up, they'll be like, why are you talking like that? I think I said one time, like, they know, like, if I'm hungry, sometimes my mood changes. And my daughter be like, did you eat today? Like,
The Snickers commercial.
exactly.
Come with snacks.
Yeah, she does. She get in my car now and have food in the car ready for me, just so my mood won't leave.
Hey, so that's funny. Talk about knowing your child.
Yes.
The child knowing their parent.
Yes.
It's hard raising your mom.
Shaye said Aunt Brenda was the creative disciplinary.
I had to be. Yeah, because growing up, like Angel gave me a run. Like I couldn't whoop her that long, like growing up, because this girl I would have my workout cut out for me. She's jumping over beds, like we were chasing her. Like it would get to the point to where I would just stop and just laugh. I was like, okay, I give up. You win, like because I was so tired trying to like discipline her, and I was like, something else has to happen because I can't whoop her anymore. But
Someone, my bestie in the comments said that when you were talking about timeout, she said social isolation can be very effective because it forces reflection.
Yeah.
buddy.
Okay, it makes you sit back and think. Now you isolated me. Now I'm sitting over here well, what did I do wrong? Or what can I do to get out of this? Because I know sometimes when I worked at the daycare, if I put the kids in a timeout, they'll come back to me and always be like, well, I'm sorry that I did that.
Yeah.
Or I'm not going to do that again. I didn't know that was bad. I'm not going to do it. Can I please get out of timeout early? Or can I please get out?
Even as a parent, if you feel like you are getting to a limit to where you don't want to do anything that you should not do, give your own self a timeout.
Yeah.
Go sit in a room, go sit and reflect or whatever, and just calm down so that you can come back to them and speak to them as a person.
Yes, and one thing that I did with my children from a young age, and like you said, people were like, oh, you just let, because us growing up, it wasn't quite like that, and you didn't see that, but I would always let them, we would have every week, I would let them come in, they could tell me if I did it, and at the time I was married to the dad, so they would come in and tell us everything that we did that hurt their feelings, everything that we did that made them feel a certain type of way. If we do certain things that they may not like, because the one thing that they hated was if they did something and I'm fussing and going off, and then I'll get on the phone with y'all, be like, girl, let me tell you what these kids did. And blah, they was like, why you gotta get on the phone with your sisters and tell your sisters what, and then they voiced that to me, and so I was like, okay, it's certain things that I'm not, like, we're talking, so I'm not gonna do that, because they expressed to me that they did not like that. And when somebody tell you you're doing something that they don't like, you need to listen. Now, when it came to certain things, I had, and like I said, with all three of my children, I had to, like, let them know, like, the boundaries and the different things, because I was like, hey, let me know how you feel. If I hurt your feelings, if I did something to make you feel a certain type of way, if I said something a certain way to make, so they did. And so I would just let them express themselves. You can say whatever you need to say, and this is a moment where you're safe. This is a moment where I'm not gonna, go off or act a certain kind of way. And one of them, that young one again, I'll never forget, she was about 4 or 5, and she's like, sometimes I just want to bust you in your mouth. And I said, we gonna rear this back. Let me remind you who I am. You can tell me how you feel, but you better be careful with how you say. I realized then, like, okay, we gotta set some more boundaries, because I would never forget. Everybody else was being respectful. Yes, ma'am, mom, I don't like when you do this, do that. She just told me, sometimes I just want to push you in your mouth. And I'm like, you want to hit me in my mouth? So I, like, okay, well, let's kind of revamp this. But I would allow them to tell me how they felt, because like I said, they're human.
Yes.
And if I'm doing something to you, I'm not just going to be like, well, I'm grown. And, and in our household, that was kind of some friction, because on the flip side, you letting these kids tell us this. Yes, we need to know how they feel. We need to know if they're afraid of us. Yeah.
But we're new to parenting, just like they're new in this world.
Yes.
So we're all doing this together. So we make mistakes.
Yes.
So if somebody comes to you to humble you or to show you yourself, accept it, reflect on it, and then accept it. Whatever.
Yes.
Because God is still building character in us as parents, the same as He's building character in these children. So it's okay. You can't say, like, you can't tell me anything because you're a child. Yes, you can.
Yes. And I apologize to them too all the time. I would always come back and apologize, and sometimes I feel like I was over apologizing. I'm so sorry. Yeah, but that's another thing too.
No, go ahead.
But I really, that's something I appreciated growing up, because y'all lay the foundation for like every type of relationship that we have. So I carry that, like in friendships. Sometimes I like get a little nervous because I don't want to offend them, even though it's hurt my feelings. But I'm like, I was raised to express myself. And, but y'all really laid that foundation. So thank you.
I think it's good, because we on this podcast that we talk about relationships. So we talk about the healthy side and the toxic side. We bring that up a lot. And one of the toxic traits is like shutting people down. When they come and they express themselves, when you shut them down, it causes rejection. So we want to make sure that as parents, we are mindful of this as well. We, like Brandy said, we're learning, and we have to stop treating our kids as if they're in this, say, like in the old days, stay in a child's place. Okay, well, I am a child, but I do have a mind. I do have feelings. I do have emotions. I do hurt. you know. So we gotta as parents, we have to be mindful of that and be aware of that they hurt, and we can cause them, we can damage them, and then they cause this childhood trauma, and when they're older, they have to work through those type of things. And we're not perfect, like as you said, you know, but we want to be aware and mindful that they're, like Brenda said, they're humans also. Just because they're kids, they are humans, or just because they're young adults now, they are still human, and we can't shut people down, because that's a toxic relationship trait. We need everybody to be vocal, because sometimes I may not know that something that I'm doing may hurt you or cause a trigger for you. And I had something here that I wanted to share, because I always have a tip. So we have to be mindful. I heard a lady say, remember that the people in your life have a different story, a different history, and have different wounds and with different wounds and programming and conditioning. They have different pain that they carry, and because of that, the way they process things and experience things is different than the way we do. Remembering this will lead to growth, healing, and expansion in your relationship. I can't remember who said it, but it does. So when we allow you to be you and be different, we're embracing you, and we welcome it, and we create that safe space, that safe place, to where you know that you have a place to come. You don't have to run outside. A lot of our kids are running outside looking for things that they need to be getting at home, you know, and I hate that they're not, you know, but when we know better, we do better. So that's why we're bringing awareness to it on today. We're bringing it to the light, so maybe it'll help somebody, you know. We want to make sure that everybody's different. And like we said, we talked about we are 3 kids that our mother raised, but we all are different in our own. We each have kids who are different in their own, and we have to turn the light on and realize what I can do this here, I can't do this here. This will as parents we are teaching them. We are training them. And let's just say we're all teachers. We're teaching our children how to become healthy adults. So a lot of the time we can't blame the kids for being bad all the time, because we have a part to play, and we have to take ownership. Like Ashley said, I had to apologize sometimes, you know, because as I come to the night, I'm like, and Brandy said, okay, if I'm yelling, I want to work on this. And she was a creative parent. She popped the rubber band. If I'm yelling and they got to come and pop the rubber band, I don't know. I'm not going to let my child pop the rubber band on me. Neither one of them, they would make it out of a game for real. And I would be talking in my normal voice, and they'll say, you yelling, let me pop it 3 times. They'll add some extra time on it. But I want to hear from your Brandy's kids. How was it with her as your mother?
You know, growing up was really interesting. I was just thinking about how the last time I was disciplined and whooped, and I gave her like her money, and she was over it, so she grabbed me by my ankle and held me upside down, and then whooped me that way. And that was the last time we ever had that. While laughing, but like she swept me up, she called me.
Both of you were laughing.
Yeah, it was she laughed throughout all of my disciplines. And I would like talk to her as she like hitting me.
She would.
You don't have to abuse me. And she's like, laughing. And then it was over after that. Without the shirt. Oh, she also had a discipline shirt where she couldn't see the same shirt in it as
The get along shirt.
Yeah,
What's it called?
Get along shirt. Oh, we had
Get
to
along.
hug each other. We all had to get inside of the shirt together and hug each other and we cried.
And what did I have to say?
I don't remember.
I love you.
Yeah.
I love you.
Very creative forms of discipline. We didn't want to touch each other like that.
I understand. I feel where you're coming from.
It was a big t-shirt for all 5 of us.
You had 5 people in one shirt.
What was that?
Get along. They were going to get along.
Yes.
Yeah, she would also make, mainly Biggie, just repeat what he did that she didn't like. So he stormed off wine and she would make him do that over and over again. And he would be crying and she'd be like, oh, you didn't do it right. Lift that leg a little bit higher and keep doing it. And we just not saying anything like that.
Until he
We would just
started
laugh watching him.
Until he started laughing, like I would do it until he started laughing. And I was like, now, do you see how silly that looks? That's dramatic.
Well, do you think that, as now looking back on on it? How effective was it? How did it? Did you learn?
I think I got it. A lot of people nowadays say that like discipline is like giving their kids traumas and how they shouldn't discipline at all until their kids are running around free on the
Yeah.
streets. But like, we still respect our parents.
Yeah.
Our parents and
And you still love her through it all, even though she did. And I'm asking
only
because.
because my father didn't discipline us like
Oh.
parents.
Yeah.
And Micah, how did that make you feel? Was it effective with
Doing that same thing over and over again.
Yeah, how was that? And please do tell.
I mean, I guess it worked. You look silly. You notice it. You're like, I don't want to do that again. So I guess it kind of worked.
It made you reflect, self-reflect, right? and I ask that because as parents, we don't want to be mean or be the bad guy. You know, it's hard for us sometimes. Oh, now I gotta punish you, or now I gotta do this to you. I don't want. I love you. I don't want to do this to you. But discipline is good. If we have no discipline and we come out like Andrew said and just run rampant and be lawless, or be adults with no direction. You know, we run it. I don't even know what to say, but we don't have and breaking. We tend they break rules and be the ones that have trouble past or trouble life. You know, but when we create discipline, you know, and we obey the rules are not bad. When we create discipline and that, you know, you cannot do this or we cannot allow you to go in this manner, that creates healthy adults, you know. Even though I didn't like the discipline, I didn't really I don't think I got I got into a lot of trouble because I don't like to get in trouble. I don't like, just me personally, I don't like to get in trouble. I don't like, my husband right now, when I got with him, I'll tell you this, and being very transparent, my husband was a rebel. And I was one that I did my share of things, but I don't want to break a rule. I'm sorry. I'm going to follow instructions. I don't want to get in trouble. I don't. That's just me. I don't want to do it. You know, I may have tried some things, but I don't want to get in trouble. I want to do what I have to do. But my husband, on the other hand, he was a rebel. He would test the limits on everything. You know, but just with that alone, I've learned as growing up that this is not the area where I want to go in. And through having parents, our mom was loving, but she didn't play. She's very stern with this, and she was very hands-on to let us know you were not my child out here carrying on like this. Not my child. You were raised better than that. My dad was also a person that you're not gonna be out here acting crazy, like you don't have home, like they say, oh, you act like you ain't got no home training. Oh, we got home training at home, and it does start at home. Like they say, charity starts at home. Home training starts at home. You know, as parents, we have to teach them when they're young, and when they get older, you know, they will be more healthier. You know, so I'm glad that you said that. Like, you still love your mom. You know, even through the discipline, they still have a relationship. Look, they were willing to come here and talk on today. So parents out there that's just letting your kids run around and do whatever, just know that it's okay to discipline. We don't want them to get up and be the kid that's in trouble with the police or in trouble or causing trouble or in and out of jail. So we need to start and reel it in right now and create healthy adults, create healthy children, so that they can grow and be healthy adults. That when they have kids, that we break these cycles, you know. You know, like Brandy said, some parents didn't have that some people didn't have their parents, but their grandmother raised them. God placed someone in their life. Or some people didn't eat because their parents may not have known. But we gotta break the cycle. We gotta break the cycle of just throwing our kids away. We gotta bring them back in. And we gotta stop letting the streets have them. We gotta let them know that I love you, you know. I accept you, you know. I welcome you. You can always come back home. We have a bad stigma in our culture where we think that when a kid gets older, it's time for you to go. No, stay at home until you figure it out, you know. Stay here. And I'm guilty of that. With my oldest daughter, you know, I was like, oh, you off to college, send her off to college. And then she came back home, but she didn't like the rules at home. Because, you know, when you come home from college, you grown now. You think, you know. So she moved out, but I feel like that's a mistake that we made. We should have let her, you know, listen to her more and let her stay home a little longer, even though she's very successful, you know, she's doing good. But I feel like I don't like the fact that we throw them out there and then we say, you grown, forget about it, you grown. No. We all we all need to keep those relationships alive. We all need to nurture those relationships because we don't want our kids, our very own being, to go astray from us, you know, and be absent and after in trouble somewhere, you losing sleep, you don't know what's going on. So we need, as kids need their parents, and parents need their children, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I have an example of some of what you were talking about. When my daughter got turned 18, she started clubbing.
Don't forget they
She
want to know who
When,
about
when
yeah.
Cookie, when Cookie Tanisha, Miss Jones, evangelist,
That's
when
me.
she got turned 18, she started clubbing.
I did. Mm-hmm.
She would go come in and out of the house, whenever she felt like it. And at times, her father would tell me, she went out and left the door unlocked at 3 a.m. in the morning. And I said, okay. He found alcohol in her drawer. And he was going to throw it away. And I told him, no, she's grown. Put it back in there. You don't drink? No, I don't. Well, let's put it back. We're not going to throw it away. I'm going to talk to her. So we had that conversation. I told her, you're grown. You think you're grown.
Mm-hmm.
And you're doing things that goes contrary to our rules.
Mm-hmm.
So it's time for you to find a place to go.
Mm.
I said, two grown women cannot live together. So you need to find a place to go. So she called her grandma. Her grandma told her, your mother didn't say that. And she called me to tell me, Cookie is telling people you put her out. I said, I didn't actually put her out, but I did tell her it was time for her to go. So my daughter moved out, moved in with some friends, and something happened. I can't remember how long they stayed gone. Something happened. They each had to leave. And she called me and I said, okay, yeah, come on home. And I said, where is your friend going? And I said, hopefully home to his mom. And she said, yeah, he's going to go back down there. And then the other, I think it was like 3 or 4 roommates.
Mm-hmm.
And they all went home. And that's what we're supposed to. We're not supposed to be a handicap. We're not supposed to handicap our children. But we can be, I like to say, a net that catches them when they fall.
Yes,
and then
that's
give
good.
them a hand up.
Yes.
So we don't throw our children away when they get grown. But yet and still, if you're a grown person living with your parents, they have room.
Yes.
And that's to help you to hurry up and get out.
And
You
when
know,
I
so you
say,
can stand on your own 2 feet.
I'ma just clarify this story because she told it so sweet. You know, and so nice. Yeah, they told me I had to leave. Two grown people can't live in the same house. 2 adult women can't live together. But when I came home, they didn't really have to say nothing because my dad had my whole bedroom in the hallway. My mattress was upside the wall. My bed frame was up upside the wall. Everything was lined up in the hallway. I was like, well, tell me to get out. What they say? Tell me to get out without telling me to get out. Because I seen it in the hallway. Like, oh, what's going on here? What are we remodeling it?
That's because
That was
this man, whenever I said something, or he will jump on it, especially if it's like, disciplining the girl. He had to jump on it, so when I said she had to go, he said, okay, let me help her. Let me take her bed down so it's easy for her to get it out, you know. So, yeah, he jumped, he did, he
Tell
jumped
me
on
to
that.
get out without telling me to
And
get
I
out.
wasn't trying to push her out like that, but it was time to go because we didn't drink. Either one of us at that time, we didn't drink. The rule was, you're grown. I'm not gonna tell you not. If you wanna club, club. And the reason why I didn't care about that is because I had angels on my side. I am a Christian. I'm a believer, and I live I walk the talk. I don't just say things. So if she was in the club, I sent my angel. If she was out doing something, you know, I know God got her. In the beginning, I did do a lot of praying, Lord, you know, this, and God was telling me all the time, let me have her, and I still wanted to put my hands in it. I'm praying, Lord, keep her safe, get her away from this person, don't let her go to that place, and finally, it hit the head. This is when it hit. I don't know if she remembers this. My mother was visiting, and she said Cookie was walking up towards our apartment, looking like she had been in the club. And my mother said, and she loved Cookie. That was her favorite of my children.
Yeah.
She said, Cookie, I've been praying for you. Why you praying for me? Everybody talking about praying for me. Don't be praying for me. Pray for yourself. I said, okay. This is how it's going now. So we had the conversation. Now, I had been telling William that, okay, I'm going to talk to her. We got to, because I don't want you going off on her. And I don't want stuff to happen. We need to leave a door open. But when she said that, it's really coming on. I let her know you hurt your grandmother's feelings. And can I say this while I'm saying that too? There is a scripture that says to honor your father and your mother. The scripture doesn't say if they're the best parent to honor them. It didn't say if they show you honor to honor them. The scripture did not say if they were good to honor them. It says honor them. No matter what kind of parent you have, you honor them. And not to really talk about people or talk against a person, but my raising, the way I grew up is totally different from the way I raised my children. I honor my mother. I do my best not to come against her hard. I don't let her think that wrong is right. But I honor my mother, and I give her respect. I value her. The word of God, honor, when you break it down from the Hebrew, is I think it's kader or kadim. That's the Hebrew word. And when you break it down from the Hebrew, it translates into to value, and it says great respect. And then when you search it even more, it says this is what God is saying when He says honor your father and your mother, that your days may be long. He's saying He says they are acting like when you honor your mother and father, you are acting like God is living with you and you're honoring Him. He said this. They act like I'm dwelling with them, and they're giving me honor, great respect. So when you, in your life, in the life of children, we take the place, the physical place of God in their lives. So when you honor your parents, you're honoring God. And so you don't, no matter what type of parent that you have, God still wants you to honor them, and not for them, but for yourself. The scripture says that thy days may be long for yourself. So I just want to say that. That's right. It says, Father, do not provoke. Cookie said that earlier. Do not provoke your kids. Do not to wrath. Do not provoke your children to wrath. And this is when they're talking about provoking. That's not disciplining you. That's not telling you what you need to do. Provoking is I'm constantly messing with you about nothing. Constantly on your case about any little thing. You walk in the house. Why do you walk in like that? You walk in a different way. Why are you walking like that? And every time you come in, there's something. How come you didn't wash the dishes? Well, I did. It's dirty dishes in here. Well, this is another day. You know, constantly on you. Oh, you're ugly. You stupid. You're dumb. You're crazy. That's provoking your children. Picking on your children. Oh, you look so ugly today. Look at what you have on. Well, you going out looking like a tramp. That's provoking. That's provoking. If I tell you, I need you to come in at this time. I mean, no matter what I'm saying, how I say it, I need you to be in by 12. And then when you in, before you go out, I need you to wash these dishes. That's not provoking, but it will provoke you because you don't want to do it. It'll make you angry. They trying to tell me what I want. That's not what the Bible is talking about. You know that. But just picking on you, always being unfair. And parents can be unfair, being unjust. Parents can be unjust. Yeah, you got me started. I mean, I saw the look on Angel's face and Libby. bring it really back in.
Like, what?
No,
Yes, parents,
no,
Grancy, don't provoke me right now.
no, it wasn't that look. It was that Granty on the roll. There she goes. Yeah, that's the look I was
That
getting.
provoking
There
too,
she
I wanted
goes.
to add to that, you know, that's actually like provoking them to, when it says don't provoke them to wrath, don't provoke them to anger,
Yeah.
and causing them to get, you know, anger and built up anger or whatever that they respond and react. And it just, I learned that means avoiding, if we as parents, if we don't want to, and fathers, because it specifically talks about fathers not doing it.
Yeah.
It says parents, but particularly the fathers, don't provoke your children to wrath. And that means don't let me, that means that it's just basically avoiding any actions that may discourage you,
Yes.
you know, or
Yes.
right, or this that would just cause my child to be discouraged.
Yeah.
Like mom just said, you know, oh, you ugly, you stupid, or whatever. Get in there and just, oh, you can't clean good enough, or you know,
Right.
or you
Yeah.
didn't do that right. Oh, you can't learn it. You don't know how to learn. When the teacher teaching you, you got a problem. We need to get you tested. You know, just for example, you know. But and that could cause our kids to go astray. I'm really big on this because the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy.
Yes.
And it's very passionate. I'm passionate about it, and it's really heavy on my heart because I'm seeing families that are disconnected, and he's coming for the family. He tries to discourage, and I want, if we could just say anything to encourage you to lean in and don't run away. Children, don't run from your parents, or don't run away from and give them grace. And parents, you know, vice versa. Don't right, don't chase your kids away, you know. And that's what, like Angel just said, is the Bible does also say don't provoke your kids to wrath, you know. Let's not continue to do things to discourage our children, you know. Let's end what we need to do and what we need to put, if we can think of anything to something to add to our lives to be better. I always look for a way every day to where I can add something to be better, because that's growth. We don't do the same things every day. When we wake up, it's another opportunity that we have. Another day we have with another opportunity to be better than we was the day before. That day is gone. We may have made a mistake today, but that day is gone. It's a new day to try again to get it right. So I'm looking for, if we could look for ways to encourage one another, you know, and in relationships, encourage our children, encourage and children, and when you get to be adults, you can have to encourage your parents because they have a hard job, you know, and working and raising you and whatever. But I want to go. Did y'all have anything y'all want to add to that before we move on? Because I do have some questions.
Before, I just wanted to say that me growing up, my dad provoked me
Oh,
all the time. Like, he would do things like, okay, Cookie, read the Bible. She would say in the beginning. Okay, Squirt, read the Bible. God created the heavens and earth. Okay, Brandy, read the Bible. And then I would go into the next verse. Keep reading. I would have to read like the whole chapter. And then I remember one day he asked me to bring him some water. I was like, I don't know why he's picking on me all the time. Bring him some water. I brought him a cup of water. He was like, bring me a bigger cup. I brought him a bigger cup, and he was like, this is not enough. So I went and got a pitcher, like a Kool-Aid jug, and filled it up with water and brought it to him. And he looked at me and he said, man, you know good and well, I'm not about to drink that. And because I was trying to be funny because he was aggravating me. I was like 15 at the time. I took it back, brought him a cup of water, and he was just constantly like picking on me. And I was like, I do not know like what to do. And that put anger in me. It just caused me to be angry all the time. And when I got saved, when I was 17, and I felt like I'm healed, I'm delivered, I'm good or whatever, I'm not angry anymore. And then I had children. The demon that jumped on my back when I was a little kid, I'm thinking I was delivered from it. And then when I had children, here it comes again, reappearing. And that's when like all the anger just come out. I'm just yelling for no reason. And I asked Angel one time, I was like, we were talking about me yelling. She was like, I don't remember you ever yelling at us. And I was like, thank God, because I would go in the room and cry at night, like, Lord, help me. This is like, it was like a burden, like, help me with this. I don't want to talk, I don't want to yell at my kids. Our parents didn't do that to us, but that anger was there. And it was just constantly just coming up, not just because of them, but because of what I was going through. I didn't know how to separate what I'm going through in this marriage with their dad to raising them and loving them, whatever. And it was just like clashing. I didn't realize, I didn't know until after a while that this, like, these are your children. They didn't do this to you or whatever. But the anger it was just there. And that's because I was provoked as a child. But I just thank God that she was like, I don't remember you yelling at us. And I was just like, oh my goodness, thank God, because that's one thing that I would cry about it, you know, thinking back on it, how the enemy would try to like condemn you. And I was thinking like, Lord, I just feel so bad. And we talked, I would apologize to them. But it was just something in me that bothered me so much. But I thank God that she was like, I don't remember you yelling. And I was like, wow, God is a deliverer for real, and a healer for real. So that's what I wanted to say. And okay, you can go.
I wanted to add to something. I don't remember when y'all said it, but even as far as your Kiki was talking about, I think people leaving and families being torn apart. You're just like she said on the flip side, the parents need the children. The parents need to also make a safe space for your children to be able to come to you. Because I remember my mom and dad asking us at a young age, are we scared of them? And I remember telling my mom, like, no, I'm not scared of you, but with my dad, are you scared of him? Yeah, I'm scared of him. And my mom didn't want that. I don't know if my dad did, but I know my mom was like, I don't want y'all to be scared of us. I want y'all to be able to come to us and tell us things and share things with us. And, but because of the environment, we knew, okay, I can go to my mom, I can say this, but we knew I couldn't go to my dad and say certain things. But we needed that. But because he wasn't open or emotionally mature enough to be able to handle all that, we couldn't go and do that. And so that made it hard even for us. And I just think that you need to have allowed that place to be safe for them to want to come and talk to you about anything. And when they do share those things, lock it in the vault. It's sometimes my children will tell me something, and if they tell their other siblings, okay. If they don't, when it comes to me, it's just like it's new all over again. They'll tell me in front of them, and they'll say, well, my mama already knew. And they're like, oh, you knew? Yeah, I knew, but that wasn't my place to say anything to you about that. And so I think that's also a avenue that we can have open for our children and have that dialogue, because I've always wanted to be the best version that I can be for them. Have I gotten it right all the time? No. Have I messed up several times? Yes. Will I continue to mess up? Yes, I will. But at the end of the day, I know that they know that I love them. I know that they know that I have their back, and I'm going to be there. But one thing I always did too was be honest. I may not like what you did, but I still love you. I may not like the way you behave, but I still love. Because people used to say, oh, you can tell which kids don't get disciplined at home. That was a lie. Because I was running amok, and I got disciplined at home. But when people would say that, I was like, that is not necessarily true. You just have some that will go against the grain. Right. And they know. I knew when I got home, it was going down. But I'm going to do this. I want to do this. But when I get home, I'm going to suffer the consequences later. But but that's not always the case. And so I just think with our children, and not just even y'all grown now, but even with them, I can look at all of them, my nieces, my nephews, and I'm proud. I can look at them and just be like, wow, like you said, it takes a village. I never got mad when my children was like, I talked to Aunt Brandy, I talked to Aunt Cookie, or I talked to Grandpa or somebody else, and it may have been something that I may not have known. As long as you're talking to somebody that you can trust, somebody that we trust, that's fine. It's not what goes on in this house stays in this house, because sometimes things that are going on in the house don't need to be going on in the house. Exactly. Somebody needs to know what's going on. And so we're not keeping this private. There are certain things that we will keep private, but certain things are not, because it needs to be out there. And so that didn't bother me, because I knew if they came to you, they were coming to somebody that was going to give them sound doctor, that was going to give them the truth, that was not going to water down, but that was also going to love them. I knew if they came to you, they were going to get the real raw, the uncut, but they were going to still get love even in the midst of that. It wasn't going to be a beaten down or, so when that happens, they need to know, like, okay, this is my safe place, and I can go to other people, because we, like you said, we've helped raise one another. And even with Evandria, like, I remember the first time God told me to tell her something, and I was like trying to go in there like I always go, Amy's baby, da da da, she's 16, that's my baby, that's Amy's baby, and God was like, tell her like I told you to tell her. And I was like, oh God, so she knew when I had said what I had to say, that it was coming from, it wasn't me because of the way that I had to tell her, because I would normally be coming in all lovey, huggy, and all, but I had to be like, hey, this and that, blah blah. And she knew that. She said, "Man, I knew it was serious when you said it like you said it." And so even being a parent, you have to know every advice or the life changing events or even the wisdom and things that your children have. It's not always coming from you. It's gonna come from those around you. It's gonna come, and when you have a great tight knit family or friends, you're gonna have some people that they may feel more comfortable with going to about this thing. And I've had children to come to me about certain things, and I told them as long as it's nothing detrimental, as long as it's nothing that your parents don't need to know, it's staying locked in the vault. But if it's something that they need to know, I will go with you. So I think that's important too.
That's good.
That's good because we do, and we can't get offended.
Yeah.
You know, some parents get offended because the kid has a different adult to go
Yeah.
to or whatever, and not to them. We can't as parents get offended because they may be at a point. We know they go through adolescence, they go through teenage years, and they go to the stage where they don't want to hear it from us, or they don't want to. Oh, you always talking, or we're not just the best of friends at that time. You know, their hormones are all over the place. You know, they're up and down. They're going through changes. You know, and at that point, it's so great to have somebody else that they can go to and talk to. You know, I even have my daughter has a great teacher at school. And I brought her up a couple of times, and I'm gonna bring her up today because a lot of times, you know, and they love her. They decided that she's not going anywhere. She's stuck for life. I don't know if she really wanted that, but hey, it is what it is. And not just my child, but she's a teacher that to where half of the students love her and want to be around her a lot of times, and they go to her for a lot of things, and she gets to correct. She corrects them. She tells them the truth now. Like, no, you gonna. She pull them to the side, tell them, and she's also there, you know, as a listening ear, you know, and I appreciate that to have a teacher, you know, like that cares about all the children. They have a joke right now that maybe my daughter is her favorite, but that's not true. The way she talks about all of them and the way that she loves on them, the way that she cares about their well-being. Like my daughter was in trouble with her grades. She pulled her to the side. No, you're going to eat lunch with me. And she got the help that she needed and worked with her, you know. And it's so good that, like they say, it does take a village. It's good to have other people that are not causing them to go down the wrong path, but that are giving them sound counsel, you know, wisdom, or even like to have like the mentorship programs. You know, we want to make sure we have somebody that's biblically sound, you know, that's mentoring them, you know, and not causing them to go wrong. But it's good to have like we helped raise. I even with my cousin, she had 4 kids, and I kind of lived with her off and on through my ups and downs of life. But I helped her with her raising her kids. I didn't have kids at the time, but I also was able to help, and that taught me. So when I got kids, you know, some things I learned from that, you know. So when I did have kids, that I actually helped raise some kids beforehand, you know. And I know the ups and downs and the things that they go through, because each one of her 4 were entirely different, like the opposites. But anybody else? Because I do have some questions.
I was gonna say this real quick. Sometimes when we have been disciplined, like we'll step in when the other person is disciplined. Because sometimes you might be like, okay, that's let me a little bit too much. Like you doing a little, or sometimes we right in there co-signing. What your mama said. Or, yes, get over there and sit down. Brandy did not mind. Brandy would discipline kids on the street. Like you driving down, get out the road. Why are you in there? And I'm like, Lord, why she talking to these kids? But we didn't mind like stepping in. Sometimes Cookie's on the phone with Eris, and I'm like, yeah, you heard your mama, or you heard what my sister said, or whatever the case may be. And I know they probably like, oh,
I'm
Lord,
like, y'all need to let up off my cousin.
yes.
Y'all doing too much.
So we all chime in when it comes to that, and we don't mind helping or assisting. And not just when it comes to discipline, like that, you learn in the house chores, you learn respect, you learn values, you learn. So if somebody's saying something, what did you say? Like we're literally stepping in. Like that's not how you're raised. Even with Big growing up with the girls, like he knew his job was to open the doors. He would have a fit. if one of them tried to touch that door, open that door, he would get so mad. And cause that was his job. I'm opening this door. I'm holding the door open for y'all. So, just even with things like that, and we would get out the way and let him do it. He knew that was his job. Yes.
God taught him that since he was 2 years old. He's
Yes.
been holding doors for us.
Yes. See?
And not only did y'all help in that manner, but remember the interventions?
Yes.
I need you to come over here because we about to talk to this girl. We about to tell this whoever.
Yes.
And everybody will be in the house,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody will have something to say. And then if you did not listen or didn't understand what we were saying, we all backing you up in the discipline area. So, you know, it was not just that.
A boot camp for real.
Right. It was even that, because that's something that I felt like was a very good thing. That was one of the things that I said, that if I had that type of support, if I had a village, I would have wanted to implement that in raising young.
Yes.
The interventions, for me, they were fun. A lot of times they were funny.
Mm-hmm.
But then you got your point across, and they had it from 3 or 4 different views, if I was there for, you know. So that's something too that parents can implement that helps so much in raising your children.
Even with the fact, even with the fact that all of us are different, and some of our children maybe that was something, because I saw Cheyenne put on there that she felt the same way you felt, like with the anger and being like, why am I being provoked by my dad? Because she dealt with that. She went through that. So we would even share, and even still now, like, okay, well, let me talk to this person because I went through that, or I dealt with that when it comes to certain, because I believe my nephews, they act so much like me. Like, I love it. They never cease to disappoint me. They are just quick-witted, and then sometimes I'm like, hey, you know, chill out a little bit. Like, but I get excited about that. But then my niece Eris is so much. Sometimes I be like, boy, they finally got somebody like me, and but I can understand and I can relate. When it comes to certain things, and my sister's like, Lord, I don't know why, but I'm thinking in my head, because this is this stand, and she's like, that's what she said. I know, because I went through it. And so when you were saying that, I saw Cheyenne put that in the chat, like, because I remember her saying she felt like she was picked on or provoked by her dad a lot because she looked so much like me. And it was always like, every time stuff would go down, I would be gone, and I would get back home, and it was just like, oh my God. And she dealt with that as well. So we could, with everyone, because my children act like my sisters. I mean, they got a little bit of me in them, but they act like my sisters. And so it was things that they went through even as growing up that they could talk to Cookie about, and she was able to help them with that. So I just think even in that aspect too, being like, okay, well, I know what's going on with them, or I can relate to that or whatever. So.
Yes, I wanted to go back to something that you said, because something you said, Mama, about like as our kids get older, it's kind of hard for us sometimes not to get in it, not to put our hands in it. We have to realize that they are adults, and that is like the toughest thing. You think that when they are children, that it's hard, but as they grow up, the prayers get stronger, because you want them to do everything that you taught them. Like the Bible says, raise them up in the way that they should go, and when they're older, they will not depart from it. You want them to do that right off the bat. But they need to build their lives, and they need to build their character and be who God called them to be.
Building their testimony.
Yes, and sometimes that is like the toughest thing. Is I remember Angel, and you can comment to this, like she would say, I'm gonna go to wherever a party, or me and my friends are gonna go to Mexico or whatever, and she would tell us, and me and my mama immediately start praying every time, like, if that's your will, Lord. If not,
You just come in and go, don't say no, don't go there.
She said,
The hardest for me not to go out. Like, I was going to the grocery store.
We were praying.
She stopped telling me things because every time she would tell me, she wouldn't get to go. And I said, that was God.
Yeah, she was like, why do I always hear you in my head every time I get ready to do something? Because it's God telling you, and thank God that she listens to God, and she knows she's his sheep, and she follows his voice or whatever, because she gotten not getting into things because what would have happened if she had a gone or whatever. But we were constantly like praying. She's like, I can't do nothing.
And the angel that manifested when she was at that concert and there was so much stuff going on and this man just was there.
Yes.
And he was protecting her and I think it was somebody else with you. You remember that? When I forget what like it was like I forget what the thing was, big old something that they had a music thing and it was like a crush or something. And this guy was just, you know, keeping people back in a way. And I said that was an angel because we prayed.
Yes.
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 One thing too that I love is I noticed with my girls, I would always say, they would tell me, hey mom, can I go such and such? I'm like, yeah. When they got there, they would let me know, hey, I'm here, blah, blah. You know, they, and kids always wanted, but Star was notorious for, change of plans, we're going to Walmart. And I'm like, okay, we just made it to Walmart. Okay, we're still in Walmart. Okay, now we're getting in the car. I'm like, enjoy your friends. Like,
You know, I am at all times. Man, look at my location.
look at your location. And this was before we could look at locations, but it was like every step of the way. And I was just like, you know what, I appreciate that
Peace
because
of mind.
it did. Because like you said, yeah.
Like just having somebody there, you know.
To know where you are, to know what's going on, and sometimes I would be like, okay, where are y'all going? And I know sometimes they didn't always like that, but I need to know where you're going. I need to know who you're going with. I need to know them who I need to know the family members. I need to know, like, we need to know this because you're not going to be on the news. Have me on the news.
Right.
And then they was like, who was your daughter with? Oh, somebody named Shay. Who is Shay? I don't know, but they look like this. And, no, I need to know.
Angel would send me, take a picture of the license plate, and like she would go real deep and be like, because I'm not about to be kidnapped. She all,
That's my niece. You my niece.
But
I'm
that's
small.
it's a little.
Truck pretty easy.
You're not kidnapping me.
You can fit in the trunk.
Trunk, the back
Not you.
That's a testament to the relationship that you guys have. Now, I hold my kids, I got babies, so when you get them, please let me know.
They have big cousins for that.
Oh,
You're fine.
okay,
You
y'all
got
got it. Return the favor.
yes.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, I just want to say it's different with a boy because he's trying to be a man, like he's growing into manhood. And all we could do is like pray, you know, God help him to be the man that you called him to be. But with him, I just want so much. I'm just like, Micah, no, those not your friends. No, like I want to say something. He's like, Mama, like I know, like he's quick to tell me, like, will you stop? I got this. What do you think I don't know? You don't have to tell me this again. So we have those conversations, and I'm like, okay, I'm backing off.
Trust the race.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
You did
He's
raise
got
me
this.
Y'all
right.
did a great job.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Micah?
I said you did raise me right. I know.
Yeah.
He says it all the time.
We gotta trust the race.
Yeah,
And we gotta
God told
trust
me.
that. Yeah.
God told me I got them, and so that's one thing that I had to. Okay, God, you said you got them. So
I told you earlier, I'm a testament now, because I was in those clubs. I was drinking that drink.
you just being Tyson.
I was
Mike
doing
Tyson.
whatever I thought I was big enough to do, I was
Yes.
going to do it. And my parents didn't know, so hey.
I think my parent knows too much.
I felt like my parent knew too much, and then God was telling her everything, and I was having to negotiate with God, like, don't tell her, I'll tell her. But then I was also talking to him, like, why you keep telling her all this stuff? I'm trying to live my life. I want to sin a little bit. I want to do a little other stuff. And even if I was trying to do what's right, you got to tell her everything. Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm ready to go. And I'm like, no, I need to tell you this.
Yeah.
Probably tired of me telling her too much.
Yeah.
TMI. And I'm like,
She tells me everything. She's like, no, you're gonna listen to this lady.
You want to be in my business, you want to be a part.
here.
You want this healthy relationship,
Yeah.
but let me lay this on you. Let me tell you about this.
Well,
And when they're telling
She has
you,
to listen.
yeah, when
When-
they're telling you, you can't freeze up because
Yes.
sometimes they tell me stuff that I don't want to. I mean, I appreciate the
Yes.
relationship,
No,
but sometimes it's a little bit much. And outwardly, I'm like, inwardly, I'm cringing. Like,
No.
She cringed
We
out.
know you.
Oh, yeah, she does.
No, I'm as from the auntie with the kids. All of them talk to me, and I just sometimes feel like the lines of the auntie, niece, and nephew relationship have crossed
Being
the boundaries. Like, hold on, back there. I know we
get
cook.
boundaries.
Oh, y'all got an
The aunt gets
obligation.
everything.
We cook right, so there's no boundaries. Like I get a lot that I can't take in.
Thank
I'm
you.
like, really? I'm like, what? And that oldest one of yours, oh my lord, Shaye. I was like, man, I don't know if we should. This is something that
You
you
just said I tell you
should
everything.
have. I'm like, Shaye, wait, let's pump the brakes, you know? And look, hold on. Between her and Brashay, I'm like, wait, man, I didn't ask for this. I don't think I want this much. I do want to be there for you.
Badge of honor.
Yes, you did.
I do want to, but some of the stuff, we're not best friends. Like, why I got to know all this? But
Y'all
hey.
are our little friends.
When
y'all
they,
little
when-
friends.
yes,
Yeah.
when they were teenagers, like they would come home and talk and talk. And in my head, I'm like, just listen to it because as they get older, you're going to want an open relationship. You want them to talk to you as they get older. So I would just sit there and just listen. In my head, I'm like, man, can y'all hurry up? Like, but I would just smile at them, and I was like, I'm not gonna like say it, even though I'm like being impatient. Because that was my issue. I was being very impatient. I wanted them to hurry up and get to the point.
Yeah.
And Angel, like Cookie, when she told the story, you're going to hear the beginning.
Yeah, all the
And so
details.
what happened,
Girl.
at 10:48, I walked in, I sat down, so she
I
gave,
look to the left.
yes, she gave all the details. And in my head, I'm like, get to it. But I just let them talk. Just talk, get it out, because now, like, we talk.
Yeah.
Yes.
But that's good. It's good that you have. Not everybody has that. So
That's
that's a testament to how you did a good job as a mother. You know that she still wants to come and talk to you like that. And even Micah, even though he said, okay, I got this, he still calls. Like he
Yes.
called us. He
funny.
calls and reports his day to all of us at the end of the
Yes.
day.
Yes.
When the day ends,
We all get it.
he will let us know what happened that was exciting or interesting or.
Because he does not hold his tongue.
No.
This one here, like, both my kids were like me. And I was like, Lord, I can't even be mad at them. They got the same mouth that their mama got. And this boy right here, he says things. I'm like, you said that for real? Yeah, I said it. Like,
I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings, but I'm not gonna lie to you though.
Yeah.
And that's good. That's honorable. That's really good. You know, I'm gonna tell you the truth. And sometimes I think they have to learn how to cater it.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
know, the delivery. Because right now, y'all pray for him.
I'm not good with
Hand
that.
over the delivery sometimes can be a little straight.
But it'll
Straight, no straight,
it will
straight.
even out.
It will even out. Look at me.
Right.
Yeah, it'll even out, even with the sarcasm, because mine are very sarcastic, and they got that honest.
But okay, I want to get to a few questions that we have
Okay.
before we get out of here. So I do want to ask, and this is a two-part question. So I'm going to ask this as the first one is, what have you passed down from your mother to your children?
Ooh, that's for me. What have I passed? Okay, my child said she already knew, actually know my answer, but I have passed down the best, the greatest thing that my mom ever gave us was.
Let me say it.
Jesus. Yes, she gave us Jesus. She taught us about the Lord and the Word, and she loved us. My mom gave us so much love, and I think that's where I know that's where I get it from. When I pour all of that on my children, like I want them to know that I love them every time. When I get off the phone, I love you. When I'm getting on the phone, I love you. When they walking out the house, I love you. Blah. So I think just that love, knowing that they're loved, and also giving them Jesus is what I passed down.
I passed down being a warrior because my mama didn't play. She would come in our rooms at 3 o'clock in the morning, anoint our heads, and she wasn't like anointing, like she was outwardly anointing, speaking in tongues, praying over us, protecting us. And I did the same thing to my kids growing up. And I remember one day Micah called me and he was like, Mom, I was in the room and I heard a noise. And he was like, devil. And he said, I jumped up and I grabbed that oil and I started going through the house. I was like, I feel so proud. Like, I'm glad that you know how to fight and war in the spirit. Yes. So both of them have done it. Angel will rebuke anything in a minute. Like, it was an 18-wheeler. Like, what was it? Tell the story about the 18-wheeler and how you rebuked it.
You didn't believe me.
I got out of the way,
I was
didn't
like,
Yeah,
you
he said I can't keep rebuking everything.
not like Kane, but I was confused. So I'm like, did you just rebuke that 18-wheeler?
I go in his room and rebuke random things.
You have power in your mouth. Like whatever we say, God gave us that. That's what my mom taught us, and that's what I taught my children.
That's good. I just say mine is boldness.
Mm-hmm.
And the confidence. Because that's one thing, humbly speaking, I never had an issue with confidence.
Nope.
Because my mother poured into us and let us know you are the best.
Yeah.
You are the apple of God's eye. There's nobody like you. And when I say my two children, my little ones, oh my God, the confidence is on a hundred
It is.
thousand.
They win, and they know they win.
Right,
Yeah.
right. That's
Any
what.
child that says I want to go to Japan and I want to go to Miami for my birthday at their young age, yeah, very confident.
Very like, and why can't I have this?
Yes.
So I would say like, cause and that's something that my mother passed down to us: being bold in who you are and your own identity, being authentically you, with no compromise and no explanation, no apologies about it. Be you. So that's something that she taught me, and I didn't have a lack of confidence at all. And I'm not speaking arrogantly, but I'm just letting you know and I'm thankful for that.
Yeah.
I didn't have that because I was good with who I am, whether you liked me or not,
Yes.
or whether you accepted me or not. I'm good with the skin that I'm in. I'm happy with me being me. My good, my bad, my ups, my downs, my trials and my errors, my bumping my head and learning my lesson and my growing. I'm okay. So that's something that right now I am really impressed with my kids because and the courageousness, because my daughter will go and do anything.
Yes, she
My
will.
son is about like his dad. He's gonna try anything like a little daredevil. He
Mhm.
will go out and think he can do it. I'm like, hold on, you just this big. Like you don't want to break a bone right now. And my daughter, she's very confident. Anything she goes at, she does a lot of things, and she will go out and try and attempt to do whether it's the stage, the play, the theaters, or the acting or whatever. I get nervous when we go on set. I'm like, oh, you booked this job. We're going on set. I'm nervous, and she looking at me like, what?
Yes.
Like, why? And like, basically, like, don't put that off on me. I'm good. And she's ready to get there. I'm like, oh, you got it. No, she's good because she is an actress. She's been doing it for a while, and she never gets nervous with that. She's confident in that lane that she's in. So I would say that that's something that, my mother, because she made sure that we knew who we are and nobody could tear us down, and I appreciate that. So, next question.
Can I say one thing real quick?
Yes,
Ms.
please, I'm
Hancock
sorry.
just said that all year long, Eris has been rebuking things in third period.
Come on, Eric. Shut
Eric.
it down.
That's the teacher. That's my bestie. My bestie teacher. Thank God for her, because Eris needed her.
To her classmates.
Come on now.
She gets that from her auntie. That's the part where she acts like her aunt.
Yes.
So the next thing is, question is, what's the most valuable thing your mother has passed down to you? I guess we just answered that, whatever. But I want to ask you guys,
Yeah.
what's the most valuable thing that your mother has passed down to
Jesus. Just building that relationship with God. It's more than just like going to church. It's an actual relationship, and it's the foundation for everything. So thank you.
Hey.
Oh, and love. My mom's love walk is incredible, and I just look up to her, and
She
loving,
is.
loving people. I feel
She is
like I
very
got
much
that.
so.
Yeah.
Very much so. I learned about love, and Angie, I'm gonna let you go, but I learned love through watching your mother, her love walk, because she is very accepting and very loving and welcoming. And a lot of people run to her for advice and counsel a lot of the time, but that's because they know she's a safe place, and she's gonna love you regardless of how dirty or how messed up you are. The love is not gonna go away. She's gonna still show you love. So I learned that through watching your mother, and I learned. Because I wasn't an expressive person to show it. I learned how to show it and express it through watching her. Angel, what's okay. Oh, the question is, what's the most valuable thing your mother has passed down to you?
I don't know. I was gonna say my mouth.
That's right.
'Cause
I
it's-
love it.
It's helped me a lot, and I'm not afraid to tell people what I'm thinking or how they're acting, and so I guess she passed that down to me, because she is the same way.
Yeah.
That's good being honest.
Oh,
She's a
my
very
level,
honest
but-
person. If you don't want the truth, don't ask her.
Yeah.
So that's a good trait. That's a good
You're
characteristic.
gonna,
You know.
you're going to get it anyway.
Yeah, right. You are.
If you're not, you're gonna get it.
Right. So that's a good thing.
It
You
is.
know, we know that you will always speak the truth.
Mhm.
You always be honest, and no matter how it hurts, because you know how they say the truth hurts.
Yes.
That's actually true. Sometimes the truth does hurt, but it also helps and it heals.
Yes,
So if
yes,
you
it
don't
is.
know, you don't know what to do or where you need to make the changes and grow. But if you know the truth shall make you free.
Yes.
Can I say this? I wanna say this real quick. Cheyenne says, same thing that, Dorothy said, although she added how to be a great wife,
Oh.
friend, etc. My mom is amazing.
Oh.
How to
Cheyenne's
work
on-
hard.
Thank you, Breezy.
Yeah.
And the list goes on.
It
Cheyenne
is.
is actually the oldest.
Thank you, Breezy.
I think I'm gonna say the same thing my baby said. Like, she talks about honesty because, like telling the truth and like how hard of a worker she is. We may not agree with working as hard as she does, but
She's like a real
really
life Barbie.
admire her work ethic.
What's she doing?
And like her honesty, because I never lie, like I never have, and I never will. And I think that is probably something I was taught from you.
And you know what I love about that is because y'all lived in the house with her. So you got to see what other people didn't see. And for you to share that testament, this is saying this is what was modeled before me.
Right.
I'm not just here because I got a script. Because one thing we are with our children, like Micah just said, Big, because that's what we call him, like Big just said, telling the truth. Like, I'm not going to lie or shoot. I'm going to tell the truth, and I'm going to tell you what's real. So they're not up here making a facade. This is real. We have real life stuff going on, but the fact that you can say that is because that's what was modeled at home, behind closed doors, and what you see is what you get.
Yeah,
And like I said earlier, your life is, they pattern our lives, So if we live in foul, then they're gonna pick up foul habits.
Exactly.
And if we're acting foul, speaking foul, have foul characteristics, they're gonna model. They're like sponges. Our kids are like sponges. They absorb, whatever's around them, whatever's being presented to them. So some of this stuff we can't get mad about our kids. We got to take accountability because they got it from somewhere.
That's why I said the sarcasm. That came from me. I cannot. One day Star said something, and I was like, oh my God, why is she so sarcastic? And I was in the restroom, and I was like, she got that from you. And she did, but I when I was pregnant with Cheyenne, I'll never forget, I was 9 months pregnant, 19 years old. It had to come from God for me to say this, but I was in trouble, bad, fighting all the time, all this stuff. And I remember laying my hands on my stomach, and I'm like, I'm getting ready to have this daughter. I want to be an example for her. I want to be somebody that she can look up to. And I was like, Lord, please help me. Because I couldn't do it on my own. But I needed his help to become the mother that they can talk about to this day. But if I was the person that I was before then, they wouldn't be able to say the thing. And then they picked up some traits that I have along the way, like I said, with the sarcasm and the smart mouth. And that was something that I had to work on along the way because that was not a positive trait.
Right.
Just as Jesus tells us to follow his example. We're following Jesus' example, and we are instilling those same things into our children, and that way they can follow his example. That's very important.
I want to, just go ahead.
I want to say from, and Cookie, you've also taught me to be bold and confident. And especially in like the business aspect with me starting, to repair on the side. Being just confident in my work and starting my prices. So
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
helped me a lot.
Oh, thank
Both
you.
of y'all.
That's good.
Yes,
Brandon
you're
said you
doing
need
it.
to raise the price.
Right. You're doing it. Yeah, I'm happy about it. Thank you
I
for sharing
agree
that.
with that too, plus errors, like we all look up to errors.
Yeah.
Like her confidence is up there. We want to be like her.
Be like, Eris, no, because it's like
work with her one day.
Because, honey, I don't know. That child there, okay?
And I said, as Mookie said, she would have to say that I taught her how to forgive and how to love. So I want to just add that on there.
Oh, that's
what she put on
good.
there.
We have about a few minutes, and I want to go ahead and ask this question. And it's a two-fold question, so answer it together. Because you guys have older kids. They're actually adults now. They're not kids anymore. They're adults. So, how was it raising your children, then transitioning from kids to adults? That's the A part of it. And then B part of that is what boundaries were placed.
Okay, now you might have to give me the B part after I answer
You
A.
got 5 minutes.
Yeah, I don't even need that long. Okay, first question again. What?
How was it raising your children,
Mhm.
then having them transitioning from kids to adults?
Okay, raising my children was fun. It was really fun raising my children. It was so, my children showed me so much love. I knew without a shadow of a doubt, still know that my girls love me. My mom used to say it all the time, them girls love their mom, and I know that, and they didn't make it extremely hard for me. There were some challenges, like I said, but for the most part, they obeyed, they listened, they did what I told them to do. Every now and then, I had to critique some things, and I had to change some things up because it wasn't working. But going from a young child to adulthood, I thought as a child that like man, this is hard. This is I'm raising them. But when they got older, like you said, that's when it got real. Like they're grown now, they're making their own decisions. You know, when they're babies, you're there watching them take a step off the porch or something. You're right there trying to help them. The guy, but when they're grown, like they're over there, you're on the outside watching. It's not so much as do this, do that, don't do this, don't. It's just like, man, I hope that make the right choice. I hope that. But even if they don't, like my mom said earlier, we can still be that net when they fall. I love when you said that, and give them a helping hand. Give them a hand up. So I think transitioning, I had to learn to get out of the way, to take a step back. I remember when Shia was 19 or 20. She was asking me, can I do this? Can I blah, blah. It was just basically like she used to do growing up. Mama, can I go? And I finally told her, you don't have to ask me if you can do this, and that. Just let me know where you're gonna be. Just let me know, hey, I'm good. I'm over here. I'm blah blah. But I was like, and when I was getting ready to have that conversation, it was so hard for me. But with her, it prepared me for the other two. And so I was like, you don't have to ask me if you can do anything. You're an adult now. Do whatever you, as long as you use discretion and you do the right things.
Right.
But I had to let go. And I think the letting go was the hard part. But it's also a blessing in it because that takes that weight and that pressure off you. I don't really have to do this anymore. My job now is just I'm back here and I'm praying. I'm just observing. I'm over here. I don't have to go and do this, do that. I'm just observing. So, and then the boundaries were set was the fact that I had to understand this is their life. I can give you advice. I can give you some wisdom, but I can't make you do anything. I can't. So just getting out of setting those boundaries of just the way that I'm not parenting anymore. I'm just advising, I would say.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I wrote down the exact same thing. It was fun. My kids were fun. My kids saved me from depression. Like anytime I would feel like I was like sad or whatever, we went to just about every park. All 5 of us, me and my kids, and
But
then
you were fun too. You
yes.
were the fun.
We did everything. Like we had so much fun. Like they were doing like a lot of adventurous things growing up, and it was just fun. And anytime like I would be sad, it never failed. God put these kids in my life for a reason. They would always come to me and say something that would just have me just laughing. And laughter is like the best medicine. Even now, if I'm going through something, they may not know it. They end up calling me and telling me something hilarious, and I get off the phone. I'm always like, "Thank you, God," because God already knew. Like He gave them to me, and they were fun, and we just had a good time growing. That's how come I was like people nowadays, don't be afraid when you grow up and get married to start having children. Children are fun. They are a blessing. We have so much fun. It's just all in your mindset of how you are approaching. Don't let people scare you into being a parent or whatever, because it's fun raising them. And then growing up, I already spoke about as they transition to adulthood or whatever. Yes, that part takes a lot of prayer, but it's still very rewarding. Rewarding. We are best friends. Right now, Micah is looking for a car, and so sometimes he'll call me to pick him up from work. And I tell my coworker, if you call me, I'm like, that was just my best friend. We don't have a car right now. I got that from Cookie because she calls my husband her best friend. And so we say that and we laugh about it. But they are like just like my mom is my best friend. Our mom, that's one of our best friends. Now my children, we are there now. Now I don't have ain't the same thing when they say when your parents said, you're not my little friend, I'm not your little friend. Yes, you are, my friend.
Right. I wanna ask mom this. You know, how was it raising your children and then transitioning from kids to adults?
First of all, things were so different when I was raising, and I was stressed a lot because I said I was going to raise my children wrong. Is this the right decision? When I tell them this, is this the right thing to tell them? So I was under a lot of stress a lot raising y'all, and then I got to a point to where with God, because I didn't know God in the beginning, but with God I began to relax because I knew that I had a good head on my shoulder. I had an example of how well, I'm not gonna say that, but I knew how I wanted to raise my kids. I seen some things and I said, not like that. And it was fun. I always felt like God blessed me. I would testify at church a lot. I felt like I was blessed. That He blessed me with these women, and I knew how God was going to take y'all. I had another testimony too about the 3 of them, one with this and that, but we're not gonna go into that.
You can say that.
But
That's what we're looking for.
I used to say that God trusted me with Cookie, so she was my test. He saw that I was good with Cookie. He said, I'm gonna bless her with Brandy. So I said Brandy was a blessing. Until
Tell the truth, mama. Tell the truth.
Brandy was a
You
blessing.
free, honey.
But she was something else. I mean, I thought because Cookie was so easy,
Tell the people.
I thought Brandy was going to be the same way.
Let 'em know.
She was the other end of the spectrum. Cookie was quiet, Brandy was
Let the
loud.
people know.
Cookie was easy, Brandy was so hard and rough. And so I just said, I'm done. This is it, no more children. Then here comes Ashley. Let me tell you something. When God wants a child here, that child is coming. I was taking birth control pills. I got pregnant with Ashley. She came.
Said birth
They
control ain't got
made me
nothing on
laugh.
me. Nothing on me.
But-
I came
but-
through. Sometimes
She
you just gotta
came,
pop
and
out.
so when
And show 'em.
she came, Ashley was so different. Both of these girls was
Obedient.
very obedient.
Yes.
Very. Brandy and Cookie. They were very obedient. Cookie more so than Brandy until she became a teenager. But Ashley would Ashley had me thinking I was crazy at one time. I was losing my mind.
This was you didn't give you got the test.
Okay,
Yeah,
wait, I'm
okay.
getting to that.
Okay.
I had Cookie was a test, Brandy was the blessing. Here come the trial.
No, I thought it was a tribulation. I'm glad I graduated.
I always called you my trial. God said, I bless you, I want to see how you gonna hang in there, now I'm gonna give you a trial. Ashley was so different. Even the teachers at school would think that, oh man, here comes the baby girl. Now we can't wait till she get over here. They would tell them, you don't want my little sister.
She not like that.
I would tell them, she is totally different. You don't know what you're asking for. Ashley was something on wheels. Let me tell you the gaslight. I want to tell you the gaslight.
Yes.
I have always been a very honest person. I didn't lie. My parents knew that I was not going to lie about anything. One time as an adult, I had to tell a lie to get some help. And I broke down crying because I lied. And the lady thought I was crying because I was devastated, but that wasn't it. Because I lied. Well, Cookie was selling candy for school. Ashley and I were the only ones in the house. And on top of that, I had just cleaned. My girls can tell you how I clean when I clean. I had just cleaned up the house. I'm going look for something behind the couch. Had already moved it, swept, did everything, mopped. Look, I saw a candy wrapper back there, balled up. And I had already told Ashley, no, we're not going to do that because I don't have the money to pay for that candy. I'm looking, where did this come from? Ashley, I didn't call her Ashley, Squirty, did you eat that? No, ma'am. I didn't eat it. And I'm thinking, what? How did I miss this? Who ate the candy? Never thinking it was Ashley because I didn't lie, so my kids don't lie. I kept looking and looking. I'm thinking I'm crazy. I'm going around. What's going on? How did I? Then I said, wait a minute. This girl just told me a lie. I couldn't believe it because I said she gaslighted me. I don't know, Mama. She helping me look. Mama, I just don't know. Helping me. How did it get back? I don't know. You might have missed it. You know, I just don't know. This girl lied to me. I didn't get her for that, and I felt like I should have really got her that time for that. I gave her grace.
Yeah.
I didn't get her for that, for telling me that. But this girl, you talk about a trial every week. Almost every day.
Yeah.
Let me say in elementary school every week. Middle school once, twice a week. High school every day somebody was calling me. You need to come and get your daughter, or your daughter's been doing this, your daughter's out, not in class, your daughter cussed me out. I'm in a I'm in sitting at the table. Wait, y'all know this is just the first answer. I'm gonna hurry up. I'm sitting at the table in middle school, all the teachers and me. And I felt like I was on trial. They were talking about a girl that I didn't recognize. Ashley did what? No, y'all wrong. She cussed me out, Miss Turner. No, she didn't. But I said, no, I didn't know her. This is my daughter. And proof that God can change anybody.
Yes.
And I'm not saying she was so terrible. She was mischievous, but she was my trial. God said, if you can handle this one, you can handle anything.
Yes.
And I thank God that I did. And my daughters are my best friends. I didn't have a lot of friends. They are my best friends. Outside of my grandchildren. One is telling me, right, see, there's best friends and then there's BFF. So, okay, best friend forever and best friend forever. My daughters are my best friends. I can talk to them about it. I was so happy when they were became grown women because now I can share some things with them that I couldn't, that I kept from them. Now I can talk to them about it, and because they have 3 different personalities, I know some things I can't tell Brandy. Cause Brandy will go to war. She be ready to war. I can tell Ashley. Some things I can tell Cookie, but no, some things I can't tell Cookie. That I can tell Brandy. You know, so I have to pick and choose what I tell them, and what's so silly about that is that they tell each other everything. So I'll tell Squirt somebody did such and such. If I told Brandy that, what they did, and they had the nerve or whatever. Cookie is a great accountability person. I can say something to Cookie now, a woman of God. Now Miss Turner, Pastor Turner, you know better than that. You know that. If I told Brandy on my side. If I told Squirt, they had the nerve to do what? Squirt might give me a scripture, but but Cookie is dead set on love. That's not the character of a Christian, or well, maybe you should have done it this way. She is that's how she is. So they're my best friends. I can tell them anything. They trust their children with me. And can I just take this 1 minute to say that I was gonna do this privately? But I owe my grandchildren an apology because I did not do for them what I did for my kids. I have not gone in their room anointing them or praying over them like I should have. I was not the matriarch because I was loving them in the way I felt like I should love a grandchild. They not bad like my kids were. So I could love them like this. I could love them into obedience.
I need all the grandparents to keep the same energy.
Yes, same energy. Yes.
I could love them into obedience because they were not bad like my kids were when they were growing up. So I feel like I owe them an apology. I did not step up as the woman that got in their life they may have me. I did not give them the word like I gave my kids. I will run up on them like we about to go head to head and I say, God said, and blah, 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 whatever, and then I'm gone. But I don't do this to my
Well,
grandkids, but
technically you did because you did it in us and
Yeah.
we did it to them. They would get waking up in the middle of the night with oil all on them or wake up
And I
and
just
stuff.
be smiling.
Yeah, me praying, coming in there, Brandy did it, Cookie do it, like, so when you put it in us, we've done it, so yeah,
I
technically you did. Yeah.
thank you so much, but I feel like I owe them an apology. And
I
I
was-
said that I was gonna give it to them because I felt like because I did not, and some of the stuff that I have in me, I need to.
I feel like you taught us
Pass it
though
off in
for us
there.
to do it ourselves, and that's just how I feel. I feel like you
No.
did.
No,
It might
I
not be
think-
as heavy as you.
I think the
Yeah.
only apology you owe them is to not keeping the same energy that you did with your kids.
Agreed.
With them. If you wanna apologize, just apologize for that. The same energy you gave us, we needed you to give that to them. And ain't time, when you said we got food at home, why all of a sudden you got women to go eight different
Eight
restaurants?
different places.
Okay?
This is what no, no, no.
No,
You spoke.
your
No, I'm
time
just
is
playing.
I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
I didn't say that.
I'm just playing, Mama. And I apologize for all the trials that I put you through.
We gotta get out of here. We only got about 2 minutes. So I do want to wrap it up. It's been fun. We want to thank our kids that showed up for showing up for their mothers, honoring them this month for Mother's Day. We appreciate y'all coming. Is there any last thing you have to say for 15 seconds?
Thank you for having me, and I will be back.
Yes.
It was an honor. Thank you so much.
I really appreciate being here today.
Oh gosh, they are their mother's children.
We over here too.
I want to leave you out. I always want to leave you with something, a tip or something. I want to leave you with something that may that we can apply to our lives and that would be impactful because we're always learning, we're always growing. We want to grow every day. We want to grow daily. So we talked, we talk about a lot of relationships here on this podcast. So I wanted to say I found this is that I heard before and it blessed me that our work is to get better at repair. Commit to that. Let's commit to repair. Sure, you can also want to try to minimize relational ruptures, but being successful at repair is so powerful and important. One of the problems we see play out is most people try to solve their conflict while they're still dysregulated. Instead of finding their way to regulation first, so they can find a path forward together. So we want to make sure, as parents right now today, if we can, and children, let's make sure we repair the breaches. Let's repair the ruptures in the relationship. If we can't do our part, it always doesn't, as God leads us, because some things are left. We should leave it alone. But we, as God leads us, let's try to do our part and make sure that we repair the ruptures in relationships and we don't cause the ruptures in relationships. But lastly, I want to tell you, leave you with this. Healthy relationships don't happen by accident. And when I'm saying repair, let's work on the repair part of it. Healthy relationships don't happen by accident. They're reflective of the work you've done to draw in love from a place of choice rather than survival. I'll say that again. Healthy relationships don't happen by accident. We have to work at those. If we want healthy relationships, if you're a person that wants to be a recipient of a healthy relationship, it starts with you. You first. So you have to do the work. So healthy relationships are reflective of the work you've done to draw in love from a place of choice rather than a place of survival. We thank y'all for joining us on today. We will be back next month with our Father's Day episode. Sisters, before we go, y'all have any last words?
I want to say I love my mama.
Oh, wow.
I love you,
She
Mom.
is disturbing. Somebody give her a straw for all that.
Well, I was just looking at you, and you're very beautiful over there. And I just want to say repent because the kingdom of God is at hand.
Yes.
Please come to Jesus now.
Yes.
Okay.
I was trying to say I love my mama, but I also wanted to say, I wasn't finished, but I want to say I love my mama, but I also want to say, like, don't, like you were saying, always apologize when you know you're wrong. Like you said, as parents, we are not always right.
Right.
We mess up. We make mistakes. Your way is not always the right way.
Right.
So we can listen and learn from one another.
All right. Thank y'all. We'll see y'all again next time.